Good evening, everyone. This is Sandy Anastasi, and this is my Psychic Hour. I want to welcome everybody here this evening. I look forward to this time every single month. It's just a joy to be able to continue to connect with you folks on video and audio, just as we're doing right now. The purpose of tonight's broadcast is to interact with you, to talk to you, to find out what your issues are, to find out what's on your mind. To let you ask your questions. The whole time we're on the show, I will be in channel. I'll be working with my guides, as I always do. My guides and I will be answering your questions as they come in. Lisa is in the chat room, and you'll notice if you look down on the panel that's on the page that you're looking at, on that panel, you've got a section that says chat. If you click on that little plus sign there, you'll be able to open that window. And if you have any question that you want to have answered via email, Lisa can answer that immediately. She'll be on the whole time we're on the broadcast this evening. And if you have a question for me, I would like you to raise your hand. And I see there are already some hands raised, so you can see what that looks like. And Lisa will also be calling on those raised hands as they come up, so that we can, we can interact and talk to each other directly, which is one of the most wonderful things about doing the broadcast this way, where we're one-on-one. I'm also going to show my screen right now, so you're going to see something that's a little bit new that you haven't seen before. This chart, because I'm also an astrologer, this chart is the chart for our session this evening. And I just think that's actually awesome to be able to take a look at that. It always gives me an idea of what kinds of questions are going to come up. And of course, when I look at this, it's going to give me an idea as you call in and tell me your sun sign. I'm going to be able to right there look at it and be able to tell what's going on for you in this minute based on where your sun is, which is kind of fun. I'll also be working, as I always do, with tarot cards, which is certainly a lot of fun. And I'm a numerologist too, so there's a little bit of numerology comes in. And of course, most of the work that I do clairvoyantly, clairaudiently, where I hear things, I see things. My guides give me information in 1,000 different ways. And while we're talking, your guides are talking to my guides. So we're getting information directly that way too. So I hope that this is going to be fun and educational, and that we're just going to have this really great time this evening. What I would like each one of you to do as I speak with you is to come on, and I want to hear your name. I want to hear where you're from. I'd like to know your sun sign. And before we even get started with any discussion, I'd like to know one thing that today you are grateful for, whether it's to have a special person in your life or whether it's to have a special experience that you've been having, one thing that you feel real gratitude for, that's been a bright, sunny thing in your life that you would like to share with everyone who's on this call this evening. And again, I want to welcome everyone to my Psychic Hour. This is Sandy Anastasi. I have this Psychic Hour once a month. We'll have a few people probably coming in late as we go through the call. So once in a while, if I introduce myself again, please don't think that I'm going senile early. Okay, let's take our first caller and get the show on the road. Lisa, who's the first hand that comes to mind that you would like to call on? Lisa's in the chat room, and she gets to see who is either in the chat. What she'll do is she'll look at it. If she has a lot of questions coming up that are the same question, she'll tell me that question from the chat room, or she'll just call on somebody whose hand is raised. Lisa, who are we calling on first?
All righty. I actually wrote them down in order tonight. I'm so proud of myself.
Oh, my, you're getting organized.
The first hand that I saw raised, well, I'm trying. I'm a Libra, my thing. Lori Ann, I'm going to unmute you.
Hello, Lori
Hi,
Ann.
can you hear me?
Oh, loud and clear, Lori Ann. You're coming through very, very well this evening. That's great. Lori Ann, where are you calling from?
I am now in South Florida. I just moved here 3 months ago.
You're in my
Dania
hometown. Almost.
Which is right below Fort Lauderdale.
Lovely.
Yes, I love it here.
Oh, boy. And how long ago did you move?
I moved 3 months ago from Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I'm from originally.
Wonderful. And I'm familiar with both places. I absolutely love Florida, which is why I live here. And I have a lot of good friends up in Atlanta. As a matter of fact, one of my best friends, Carl Woodall, teaches the Anastasi system that I created up there in Atlanta. So I don't, have you met Carl? Are you a friend of his? Like you definitely came from the
I
same
know
neck of the
him.
woods.
I know him personally, and yes, I know him personally, and I was in his class as well
Oh,
in
wow.
Atlanta. Yes.
Hey, Lorianne, I am delighted to welcome you to my little chat here this evening. And it's nice to have a fellow psychic on. So, anything that you want to share as we go through, just pop your hand back up and we'll be calling back on you. Okay. Um, what's the thing
Okay.
that you feel most grateful for right now at this moment in your life?
I am most grateful for actually taking the big step, leap of faith to move to Florida. I've been dying to move here for over 10 years, and I finally did it. You know, I finally decided it was time to take care of self, and I met someone with the same goal of moving to Florida, and we just did it 3 months ago, and I haven't looked back since.
Oh, I'm just getting chills. I'm getting so many chills. And from what they, Lorianne, I've got to beg your apologies because that was my phone. I'm going to hide it. I tell everybody turn your phones off, and I'm the bad girl because I just left mine on and it dinged. So we'll hide it. Lorianne, one of the things that I think is the most interesting is when people talk to me when I'm in that channel, which if people look close enough, they're going to be able to see that above my head. And when I'm in that channel, as you're talking, I'm getting flashes. So I'm getting the information as to what was going on leading up to when you moved here. Okay, it's coming through as you talk. And I want to give you this wonderful, from my heart, congratulations, because I really can see that it was moving heaven and earth for you to be able to get here. It was not, it wasn't easy. It was it was dealing with a lot of responsibilities, dealing with a lot of inner issues about what you're really responsible for, setting boundaries, and it went on for 5 years before you could, work up the ability to get down here to us. So congratulations, welcome. I think it's great that you made this jump. And what's the question or the thing you'd like to share with everyone this evening?
Well, I moved down here to continue my business as a professional organizer, but I have recently started a second venture as a weight loss coach. I joined a weight loss program and I'm losing weight currently, and I want to be a coach for others who are on the same journey as I am, but I'm kind of struggling with which kind of focus on one or the other because I'm a little ADD, and juggling both of them is a little challenging right now. And so I'm trying to figure out which one should I really focus on. I really want to do the weight loss, but I've been a professional organizer for so long, so I'm kind of struggling with that decision right now.
Yeah, and what I can see also, Lorianne, is that when you moved to Florida, you moved with the focus of being the professional organizer. And so now that you're ready to make this shift, you're feeling like, well, if I do this, am I going to be sabotaging myself? So there's a little bit of a concern there. But my guides are saying that all the doors that opened for you, that motivated you to move here, that was happening to make the move easier. It doesn't mean that you've got to hang in there like your feet are stuck in quicksand. You're allowed to make choices that you want now, and you will be able to move forward successfully as the weight loss coach if that's what you choose to do. And that's where your emotions are, that's where your heart is, and I've got to tell you that either one of these things you can be successful with. But believe it or not, the weight loss coach, I think, is going to support you more quickly than your professional organizer career would support you. Okay, so I think that's not just your heart and your desire, it's also your intuition that's leading you in that direction. So, it may be that that's the place. Continue, putting energy in both issues, both areas, because you're good at both, but put a little more into the weight loss coaching. And I think not only will you be happier, but in the long run, you're going to have higher goals. Your goals are going to be reached more readily. Lorianne, what sign are you? Hello?
I am Taurus, the bull.
Okay, now watch my cursor if you can up here. And
Hi, can you hear me?
yep, I can hear you. I'm just going to get rid of that little thing. Watch my cursor. This is you up here. That's your sign in the 8th house of this chart. And this house is all about money. So tonight, even though you're asking me a question that's about weight loss versus being an organizer, this is really not just about where you're going to be happier, but which is going to come to fruition more quickly, and what are you going to make the most money at? And there's your answer, okay? The South Node says do not give up your job as the organizer, but it does say that your best money in the long run is going to be in this house down here, which is your weight loss coaching. Did you hear that?
Yes. Wow, that's amazing.
Okay.
That's the confirmation I needed. Thank you so much.
I think you're on the right track. And again, thank you very much for sharing that with us. And if you have some insights or want to share anything that you've learned in Carl's classes, be my guest, raise your hand again, and Lisa will pull you back in, okay? And thank you so much. It's great to meet you.
Thank you so much, Sandy.
You're welcome.
You too.
And Lisa, what's our next person? Or maybe I should say, who is our next person? Much better English, yes?
Well, there you go. What is our next person? That is yet to be determined. All right. Lorraine, you are unmuted.
Hi, Sandy. How are you?
I'm very well, Lorraine. And how are you? And could you tell us what's your sun sign? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from South Carolina, and I am a Taurus as well, May 16th.
Oh, it's my Taurus night. And I've got to tell you, I love South Carolina, except I don't love it so much right now because you guys are just too cold right now for me.
Well, that's better than being up north in New Jersey, right?
Oh, did you see? We asked about what people's temperatures were a couple of days ago on my Facebook site. Just dial. If you're not a Facebook friend, just go in. I'm Sandy Anastasi on Facebook and friend me, and I'll friend you back. There were people on there up in Canada at 30 degrees below, and I just read that and I grow icicles out of my fingernails. It's a little scary. So,
I understand that.
What is the thing aside from being warmer than Canada? What's the thing that you feel most grateful for right now in your life?
The thing I'm most grateful for is for having, I lost a son to a homicide 10 years ago, and I made a connection through John Edward, and I have learned so much from John, and to be able to have, I feel like I have the ability, I have that connection. I have a connection with my son who's been gone for 10 years, and if he were alive today, I'm not sure that I would be able to have that relationship. So I'm very grateful for that.
Oh my, this is the night for this. I'm getting those chills all over again. Could you please, for the benefit of everyone who's listening, repeat that last sentence that you said about the relationship you have now versus the one you might have had he not passed?
Yes, I'll be happy to. We had a problem in the last couple of years of his life, and we did not have a relationship for about 2 years. And so I lost those 2 years of not only his life, but also of our 2 grandchildren. And I'm not sure if he were alive today and still living in the situation, in the family situation that he had, that we would have a relationship, an active relationship with him. So now that he is gone, and that's the very most sad part, is I can, because he's dead, I know how he gets through to me. I've learned so much, and I do have a relationship. If he were alive today, I'm not sure we would be able to have a relationship. Sadly.
I'm so thrilled that you shared that little bit of wisdom and that you've come to understand that yourself. It's one of the things that I've seen in my readings for people over the years. when I read, I do not connect with people who've passed the way John Edward does. I teach how to do it. I don't do that as part of my reading. I work as a future-oriented channel. But as a channel, I bring through your guides and my guides every time I read you. And so I'm very familiar with other people's guides. And it is amazing
Right.
how many people end up with guides from the other side who are loved ones who've passed, and end up having a far better relationship with those people after they've passed than they did when they were alive. And I know to the average person that sounds like it's a very strange thing, but here you are here to share that. And I think that's such a valuable bit of information for everyone who's listening on the call tonight to have. That understanding that, number one, we don't die, and number two, after we've passed to the other side of the veil, the little tiny foolish things that were truly unimportant when we were alive, but could have been blown up into big things, those things are just no longer important. And now you've got just two people who love one another from either side of the veil, reaching out and connecting in love. And it's just amazing how beautiful those relationships can be if you are open to allowing that expression. So, wow, thanks. You know, I'm asking people to say, what are they grateful for this evening? I'm telling you, I'm grateful to you that you just shared that with us. And can you hold on just for a moment? Because Lisa, my assistant, Lisa Freeman, is a phenomenal medium. And I would like Lisa's opinion on what you just said, because this is really valuable information. Lisa, how do you feel about it? Oh, thank you. And don't go, because I want to answer your question, too. Just hang in there. Lisa?
Okay.
I knew you were going to do that, and I was only halfway listening. My apologies, because I'm answering questions in the chat room. But through my experience with my readings with my clients, I find a lot of times exactly what you have said. You know, when we get in the world of the physical, a lot of times we don't appear to appreciate or really understand each other. And a lot of times it really takes the crossing over of someone for us to take that step back and really realize what our connection to them was. And what you're describing and what you're experiencing is that your connection with your son is so much on a higher level now that he is gone. And so now you truly have the connection that you were both born to have, and that was really never going to happen in the physical. So, you know, like Sandy said, kudos to you for recognizing that and being open to that, because that's so very important. And I find a lot of people could have that if they would realize it, and a lot of people never realize it. So that's where we get the healing process. That's where the healing really comes in for people, and it's an amazing thing, and it's a beautiful thing that you have connected on that level with him.
I fully agree, Lisa.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And can I ask you one other question before we allow you to ask your question? Could you share with my audience here this evening, what are the different ways that you have been making that direct connection with your son?
Well, my son actually, Brian has came through a lot to John Edward, and I don't know if I know you follow him, but we had a song commissioned every once in a while is about our son Brian, and Brian he caught a hummingbird in his hand years ago, and so he comes through as a hummingbird.
Wow.
As a pennies, change is in the most we took our grandson out today, and we found 5 pennies, you know, in just a short period of time. Just a song. Sometimes I feel somebody. I've also lost a grandson, and I used to at times when he would have just been a toddler, I would be able to feel him actually crawling up from the foot of the bed, you know. And this was a child that was in utero at 7 months, and that I never got to hold alive. And so it's just, and a lot of times I don't hear words. Sometimes I wake up with knowledge. It's like somebody's talked to me and said, today you'll do this, this, and this. This is what you need to do.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Again, very valuable information for everyone on the call, because this is the lay person who is making that connection. And this is the connection that everybody here can make if they only start to pay more attention and be more aware. Now, do you have a question for me?
I do have a question for you. Because of the relationship problem that we had, what kept us apart for those 2 years. Unfortunately, we now have two grandsons that our daughter-in-law won't allow us to see. And so we've been in a legal battle for almost 10 years to try to see these children. These children do not know us. And do you see that ever coming to fruition, that we'll ever be able to have a relationship? Because I know Brian told me before he died, in those last 6 months of his life we were speaking, and he told us he wanted us to have a relationship with his boys, whether or not he could or not.
Yeah.
Do you see the children being able to be?
What I see, and I'm going to give it to you exactly the way I'm getting it, okay? What I see is that either one or both of them, the children, will eventually reach out to you. I do not see your being able to connect with them until they're old enough to do that reaching out themselves, which tells me that this legal battle that's been going on for 10 years is getting, I don't know, I don't feel like it's because the parents know any particular attorney or anything like that. I think it just has to do with the way our court system is set up right now. And, you know, either you get pushed off the docket or it's not that important. This isn't the primary case. It just doesn't come to fruition. But eventually the boys, are they boys? Because I'm getting boys, okay?
Yes, they are. They're both boys.
And
yes.
Eventually the boys are going to reach out to you. But, and now this is, it's hurtful, but it's something you need to hear. I really don't see a relationship there. I think what will happen is they'll reach out because they'll want to know who you are. They'll want to know for their own, it'll be important to them to know who their grandparents were and what the issues in the family were. But I don't see them being able to really reach out and make the connection you want to, because their mother will inhibit that. So even after they reach out, she's still going to be in the middle of it. And I think that there's not a lot you can do about that because the boys don't want to lose their mother.
I understand that, and I think that's a fact that we're going to have to face.
Yeah, but they will know who you are.
We don't like it, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's, that is important. They will know who you are. And, my guides are saying, and I've got to say your son is saying, that it's important for you to move on. Because there is just so much in life for you to do, and this has absorbed so much of your energy for such a long, long time. And now we're getting into another concept that many people don't understand. But you are a very, very high energy lady who's got a lot of psychic energy that you also project. And that woman who was your son's wife, who was responsible for most of the issues to begin with, she's been vamping your energy all this time, okay? So you've actually been feeding her the energy that she's been using to create that emotional difficulty for you. So when you make a life for yourself, when you let it go, when you move forward with your life, she won't be getting that energy, which she can use to hold her sons back. And when her sons are old enough, that's why they'll reach out, because they'll go looking for you because you're no longer feeding her the energy to push back. I hope you understand what I'm just saying. It's been like this cycle of the energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a very, very true statement, and you were right on the money. But can you tell me what's next? I'm at that crossroads in my life.
Yeah. What's next in your own life is, frankly, it's time for you to get, and believe me, I'm not saying this because I'm just pushing my classes, but that's the way it's going to sound. It's time for you to get in touch with your own guides, with your own very excellent psychic abilities. You really do have them, and you haven't been putting your energy there, and it's time for you to get really on the mark. And that way you won't be, you won't be asking Sandy Anastasi what's next. Your inner voice is going to be telling you what's next. You're just going to be moving into it with a passion because you're going to know. You're getting that information. You have tremendous gifts to be able to share with other people, but you've been directing so much energy elsewhere that that has not been happening to the extent that it could be. Okay? So it's time for you to get back on track. Okay? And that leads me to a perfect, thank you. And it leads me to a perfect time to advertise my class. Okay. I just finished my Psychic Development Level 1 class in Tampa this past weekend. It was great, wonderful. We had a wonderful group of people. And my Psychic Development Level 2 class, which is about energy and auras, feeling the aura, seeing the aura, understanding energy, understanding the dynamics, for example, of what I just told you about how people can push and pull each other energetically. All that's going to be taught in Level 2, and that's in February on the 22nd and the 23rd, both days, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you can fly in, great. The hotel there is absolutely wonderful. We get a block of rooms. It's inexpensive. And if you can't, my classes are on Blu-ray, they're on CD, they're on MP3. I have ebooks if you're better at reading. And if you take them on Blu-ray and you get coaching with Lisa, you can get the same certification for the class that you get if you would actually physically be in the class. So we actually have people who are long distance who are studying our classes at the same exact time that our people in the classes are studying, and it works out really great. So, see, I've been able to, thank you for giving me that opportunity to make that announcement. Okay, and I wish you much luck with everything in your life.
Thank you, Sandy.
You're very welcome.
You've
great. Thanks.
answered a lot of questions.
Great, great. And
thank you.
And I think you helped also to answer so many questions and give some insight into things that are going on in other people's lives who are on this call. So, Lisa, let's move to the next person that you see that has a question. Maybe somebody in the chat room this time?
Oh, now you're just going to make me read. Okay, let's see in the chat room. I have a gal named, I'm going to spell her name. It's Sariel, and I want to say Sariel.
Sariel? Sariel, yeah. Something like that,
anyway,
and it's a very pretty name.
It's a beautiful name. She said, I'd like to ask a written question because I don't speak English well. This is a very important question. I'm a Libra with ascendant Aries. Since a year ago, I began to have sparkles of telepathy, clairvoyance, and mediumship. I want to ask Sandy's guides if I'm going to be able to be a light worker as psychic, channeler, or medium. Do you have any insight for me? Thanks, Sandy and Lisa. Love to you both.
Thank you very much. Good question. And again, I think it's a question that is really applicable to just about everyone on the chat. The first thing that I want to say, folks, is that every single one of you who is listening to this broadcast has psychic ability. Folks, we all started life as purely psychic beings. When we were infants, that's how we communicated with the world. So it's at this point as adults when we want to open up our psychic abilities, what we're really doing is only reawakening what has been there all along. And just like some people might see better than others or hear better than others, you know, one person might be a better medium, another person might be a better future-oriented channel. We all have ability. If we want to develop it, if we want to study it, there are some people who are born and don't cover it up. They continue to have it, and those people just are, we call them natural psychics. There are other people that, like me, don't recognize their psychic abilities until they're later in life. I was about 28 years old when I started to recognize my psychic abilities, but then once I began to understand what they were and I looked back, I realized, oh my goodness, I've been psychic all my life. I just never recognized it as being different from anybody else because it was always there, okay? So there's a whole lot of you who are on this call who are in that same place where you're recognizing that, yes, you are psychic. See, everyone is psychic, but you're now waking up and saying, wow, yeah, I'm having these skills, I'm having these abilities. What do I do with them next? So this is a question that she's asking that I think everyone here has the same question. And the part about being a light worker, when we say light worker, we're saying somebody who wants to work in a positive way, in the light, in a way of helping and healing people. And I agree, I love that term, light worker. I think it's important to keep that foremost in our minds so we know that what we're doing is being generated for the good of all mankind. That's our focus. And your question is, do you have the capacity to be a light worker? And I want to show this to you because what I'm getting here is the Seven of Swords. Okay, now I don't know what nationality you are, but that guy is wearing a fez. And so it's possible that you're Middle Eastern or of Middle Eastern origin or one of those countries in that general area. And also, this card says the answer is absolutely correct. You will be able to be a light worker, but you're going to be doing it a little bit behind the scenes, because that card that I just showed you, which was that Seven of Swords, it talks about somebody who's doing things in a matter of secrecy. So you will probably be utilizing your abilities, at least for some time, and doing the things that you are being led to do, but doing them from behind the scenes very quietly, not necessarily out in the open like I'm doing them where everybody in the world knows that Sandy's the psychic. But you'll be able to use those abilities to help people in so many, many ways, because you'll always know what's happening, what's going to move forward for them just a step before they do, to help to give that guidance. And will you do this on a level beyond the family? My guide is saying probably not for a while. So I'm seeing you utilizing your abilities mostly with your family and your friends. And that card I just pulled up for you was the Three of Wands, if I flashed it too fast, and it was inverted. Its inverted position says not beyond the family for a while. That doesn't necessarily mean permanently, but for a while. So again, great question. Thank you for sharing. And I think we'll move on to our next person. This time, Lisa, let's go back to somebody who's got their hand raised. I see bunches of hands there.
Okay, we have a whole list tonight. All right, I'm going to unmute Darlene. Well, I'm going to try. And it looks like maybe she was gone. So let's move on to the next person. I'm going to unmute Beth. Beth, you're unmuted.
Hi.
Hello, Beth.
How are you?
Beth, I'm fine. And how are you this evening?
Good, thank you.
Great.
I live on Long Island. Yes, it's a little cold here.
Beth, what's your sun sign?
I'm a Libra.
Oh, and we're getting all Venus ruled
Libra.
people tonight. Venus is the ruler of both Libra and Taurus. We've called on 4 people, and all 4 are Venus ruled. Isn't that amazing? So continue. What are you most grateful for right now?
Well, I'm always grateful for my family. Although days, it doesn't always seem that way. So I'm still struggling to find the right balance. And I think I've been asking my spirit guides for help with this. I was wondering if you can give me any information on my spirit guides, or any perhaps meditation prayers I should use for help with. I have 2 children, and I have a lot of, let's say, anxieties that come about, just little issues with raising them. So I'm just trying to find the right balance.
Beth,
My question probably doesn't make sense.
Oh, it does. But my answer is going to be a little bit trite, so I want to apologize ahead of time. But my guides are saying that as a youngster yourself, you were extremely, not just spiritual, but very, very religious, that your religious beliefs were very, very important to you. And of course, as you've embraced a lot of New Age concepts and so forth, you've probably moved away from your religion a little bit. But my guides are saying that the most powerful prayers that you can possibly generate for yourself are ones that come out of your childhood religion. So when you were a youngster, what was the prayer that you used to say for protection or to make you feel better? or before you went to bed. And it may have been different prayers, or it may have been just one. And they're saying not only should you be saying that prayer yourself, or prayers, there might be more than one, but you should be teaching them to your 2 children. They're showing 2 children that need to learn this. Okay?
Yeah.
Did that make sense to you?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. And when you asked about your spirit guides, there's something very interesting. There was a woman a while back who actually appeared to you. You saw her, and then turned it off really fast because it frightened you. And it was a woman who was wearing a cowl. She had a hood. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. That wasn't your imagination. That was real, and that was your spirit guide. And when you turned around, when you turned away, you shut her off, and you shut that ability to see your guides off. Okay? So what you need to do is say that prayer first, okay? And then recall that time when you saw her and say, I'm sorry that I turned my back on you. I'm ready now. And she'll come back. Okay?
Okay.
Okay? It's amazing sometimes how simple it is, because you've already made your spirit guide connection. You already did it, and you did it when you were a lot younger, and you just it came so easily, you just didn't realize it was real. Okay? But it's still there. It's always been there. You've never lost that ability.
Will things get a little bit easier?
You mean in a financial and a worldly way?
Yeah, just in general.
And I just pulled up, this is a very important card. I just pulled up the moon, okay? The moon is very emotional, but it's also very intuitive. And it says that the answer is yes, things are going to get better financially. And once again, I'm going to push your studying psychic development. Either study the tarot cards, because that's the fastest way to become skilled, or take my classes online or with Lisa Coaching, or find someone local to you that will teach you, because you are an individual who's quite gifted psychically, and there's no reason in the world that you can't develop a clientele with people who will be able to utilize your skills to benefit themselves and would be willing to pay you for that. So you're somebody who could be a professional psychic with not much difficulty at all. You could do it. And that would help your whole financial situation a great, great deal. Now that I've said that, I also want to say, just in general to everyone, one of the things that you need to know if you do aspire to be a professional psychic is that your ability to make the money to support yourself as a psychic or as an intuitive coach, it's there, okay? If you choose to do it, you can do it. In today's world, psychics and intuitives are much more accepted than they were many years ago. But remember something, you don't ever see your client as a dollar bill walking in the door, because there's something interesting about your psychic abilities. They are yours to reach out and help people. And so, yes, you could ease your financial situation with developing your skills as a psychic, an intuitive, or even a psychologist. If you went back to school, you have that skill too, my friend. But honestly, you've got to be able to do it from your heart, not just because you need to make money at it. Did that make sense?
Yeah, yes, it definitely does make sense. I so appreciate your wisdom. You know, my parents aren't around, and you know, it's hard to look up to somebody that can understand where you're coming from, because my family just doesn't get it.
That's true.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for sharing that also. Friends, let me remind you that I am on Facebook. And for people like Beth who have no one to connect with, if you take my psychic development course, right now I have a psychic development level 1 group that's going through. If you're studying this, with Lisa as a coach, we have a chat room on my Facebook site. There's a Facebook group where you can meet with like-minded people. And you also can join my Facebook and ask for connections to like-minded people. So feel free to use that Facebook to make that connection. And also, Beth, go and reach out into other psychics realms online too. get more involved, because there is, and thank God for the community, for the online community, because it's giving support to people like you all over the planet. And I think that's just absolutely the most wonderful thing that we can have, is that sense of community. Again, something to be grateful for, a sense of community that can support us all in whatever our belief systems are. You know, Beth's guides shared with me that, you know, Beth is really a very traditionally religious person. And so the prayers that are going to work to be best for her are very traditionally religious. And she comes from a traditionally religious family, which is fine, except that these alternative beliefs that she's been reaching out and encompassing, and she can come to understanding that they work, her family is not able to accept. So having an online community will really help her a great deal. So again, Beth, thanks for sharing that, because I'm sure you're not the only one of my listeners who has that issue going on in their life right now. And, you know, you don't want to cut your family off. You love them. In fact, you still share their religious beliefs, and that's great. It's just that you have added some in, and that's okay. So thank you very much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Lisa, I think we have time for a couple more people here.
Alrighty, let's go down to Susan. You are unmuted.
Can you hear me?
I can, Susan.
Awesome. Great. I'm happy to meet you.
Nice to meet you also. Susan, what is your sun sign, and what are you most grateful for? Oh, and if you have this on in the background, would you turn it off? We're getting a little feedback.
Okay, I'm sorry. Is that better?
Not a whole lot. Are you working with a headset?
I am not. I didn't know I would be talking to anybody, honestly. I'm embarrassed.
No, that's okay. But this is going to give me, you know, I love to use one person to help to explain things to everybody. And by the way, you're sounding better now, so something's shifted, which is good. Maybe the computer is balancing this. But just in general, folks, whenever you're doing anything on Skype or go to a meeting like this, it's always best to work with a headset. You'll get far less feedback, okay? So what is your sun sign, and what are you grateful for this evening?
I'm grateful for this class. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And what's your sun sign?
I am a Libra.
Another Libra. I love it. I'm going to explain what that's all about in just a few moments. And what question can I answer for you?
I've been having very interesting visions and it's kind of hard to describe verbally, but it's basically seeing people looking at me from up above and with very interesting geometric shapes around them that look like otherworldly. And I'm just wondering what you're picking up from your guides.
Well, I have no question about that at all. What question about that do you? I mean, I totally believe you that this is happening. I think that's great. But what do you want to know about it?
Are they asking me to interact with them more?
Good question. And my answer to that is no. It's not asking you to interact with them more. Do you need to do anything about this? And my guides are saying, yeah, you do. There's a man around you, probably your husband or significant other, who's being made a little bit uncomfortable by this. So you probably do have to, you know, I use the term either turn it off or turn it up. Either find out more about it or turn it off so that it's not a part of your world anymore, okay? And I can give you some understanding as to what it is that's going on. In general, and also I'm going to ask you while I talk if you would mute your mic, because that's the feedback is going to be discordant for the other people on the line. Thank you. We have, as you folks know from following me on past calls, we have a time period happening here where the veil between the worlds is thinning. And as it thins, as the Earth moves up the planes, this is what's happening. Our vibration, our physical vibration here on planet Earth is gradually shifting. And it's not just affecting one of us, it's affecting all of us, but not all at the same length of time or the same speed. So you see what's happening to this wonderful lady is that her vibration is shifting enough so that she is able to make connections to people who are on that other side of the veil. Well, folks, what's on the other side of the veil isn't all people who've passed on. There are also people from other worlds that are on the other side of that veil who simply exist outside of the physical body as we know it. So as the veil is thinning, there are many, many people who are getting information from these beings on the other side who aren't human. Okay, they're not your guides, but they will talk in geometric forms or shapes. You may see their face. You may hear thoughts from them. And a lot of times they have no interest really in talking to you at all. They are observing us. They're watching us because we're a race of beings that is evolving and will soon be at the same level that they are, and we'll be interacting with them. And when I say soon, I don't know if this is next year or in the next 500 years, but I know that there are some people on planet Earth right now whose evolution is lifting them to the point where they're able to make that connection. And I honestly think this is real, this is happening for you, but you're not able to talk to your husband or your son about it because it's not happening for them. And to them, it sounds like, oh God, has my wife gone batty? Is she crazy? Should I take her to a psychiatrist? So it's not a bad idea to not talk to people about this unless they also have experienced it. And relative to it, if it becomes an interference in your life, like it's happening constantly, and you don't know the difference between what you're hearing or seeing there versus what you're hearing or seeing here in the physical plane where you're living, well, then you need to shut it off because this is where you've made the choice to be. But as long as it's not an interference, who knows, every once in a while you actually might pick up a bit of valuable information. But I do not feel this is your guides. I feel that this is you being able to make that connection, kind of like being the third, on a telephone line I don't know if you've ever had this, where you've spoken to somebody and all of a sudden somehow you tap into a third line and you're overhearing that person's voice. I think that's what's happening with this interdimensional being or set of beings. You're connecting and you're getting this extra information, but it's not actually intended for you. It's like overhearing the conversation. However, things can be learned from it, so it's not a bad idea to listen, but just be cautious in who you talk to that about and don't allow it to interfere with your life here. Now unmute and give feedback if you would like.
Okay, thank you very much. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, was that helpful, the approach?
Yes, I understand now why they're in my space, so to say.
Yeah.
I understand the shapes I'm seeing.
Good. Good. And I want to leave you with the understanding that this is becoming more and more common. And a lot of people who are doing work with centering, with hemispheric balancing, are starting to have the same images and hear the same things you are. So you're not alone. Okay?
Well, that's a big relief. Thank you very much.
Hey, and thank you very much. I'm grateful again for you sharing that because I guarantee you there is somebody else on this call who's having the same experiences. And so they're hearing this about you has helped them to be able to deal with their issues. Okay, Lisa, let's move on. And looks like I've got maybe 10 minutes left, and so I have maybe let's see if we can't shoot for 2 or 3 people more. I'm going to move a little faster. Ooh, we have a baby.
Hello?
Hello. Was that a baby on the line?
Hi. Well, yeah, I have twins, so you might hear a and a wah and a
Well, hello, twins. And what's your name?
My name is Rachel.
Oh, another Lisa. Great name.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. And what sign are you?
My name? No,
Yes.
It's Scorpio, but my name is actually Rachel.
Rachel. And you're a Scorpio.
Rachel.
Okay.
Rachel. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Now
broke
I've got
the
it
chain.
straight. Okay. And Rachel, what do you have to be grateful for? And I bet you I'm hearing them, but let's hear it from you. What are you being grateful for this
Oh,
evening?
yes. Yeah, they are. I am grateful for what you are hearing.
I thought
They
so.
have actually changed me. They have actually brought me out of a very dark place.
Yeah, I can see that. I can feel that. Okay. Now, what is your question this evening, Rachel? Rachel, I'm not hearing you. Yeah, there you go.
Everything that is going on, and I know what is. Can you hear me now?
This is a little bit,
No.
we're going to give this one more try because you're really breaking up badly. If this doesn't work, I'll have you type the question into the chat room and I can still answer it, okay? But let's give it one more try.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Definitely better, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'm a
Rachel, we're losing you again. Rachel? Honey, I'm going to ask if you just take a moment to type your question into the chat room. We're not getting you.
All right.
Okay, if you type into the chat room though,
Okay.
don't leave the chat or the show. Type into the chat room and when Lisa sees it, she'll read it out to me, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And while we're waiting for her to type that in, Lisa, let's call on somebody else and move ahead.
Okay, I'm going to go up here to Bill. Bill, you are unmuted. Hello, Bill.
Oh, I think Bill might have stepped away.
All right. Then let's try Carol. Carol.
Okay. Carol, do we have you on the line?
Carol.
Oh. Hello? I'm getting clicks. Carol, are you there? Hello? Carol, one more try.
Shit.
Hey, you're on. I heard the curse word.
She just typed in the chat room and said she was not on.
Okay. We're going to have to move on, Lisa. Try the next one.
We're going to go on down here. Let's try Francine. You're unmuted.
Hello, Francine.
Hello.
Francine, I can hear you. Hi. And
Great. Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, you're very welcome. And Francine, what is your sign and what are you grateful for tonight?
I'm an Aquarius.
Yay!
And
we broke the mold.
And I'm grateful for being alive.
Wow, that's huge. I'm there with you. I agree. Can you share with us your question?
Yeah, I'm an Aquarius, and since the end of last year, I found some of your YouTube videos and started to watch those, and I started to meditate, and I got your books, and I started to work on my psychic development, and everything's changing. It was really good because the end of the year was kind of difficult. And I would like to get impressions of what you could offer in terms of guidance in regards to further study. I want to continue to investigate and develop my skills. I have now the time and the desire to do it, and I've known I've had this ability for a long time.
Wonderful.
And today I online discovered sound as associated with the chakras.
Yes.
And listening to recordings. I haven't been able to visualize some of my chakras very well, but with the sound, I could. Oh my goodness, I could really feel them.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
strongly.
Again, a
And
gift to the other listeners. Thank you.
yeah, I'm happy to share anything that helps anyone. So anything you can tell, I'm happy to have contact with other people who have experiences similar to mine.
Yeah, and
So anything
that's
you
what
can
this is
offer.
for. Well, first off, thank you very much for calling in. I know it takes a lot of courage to do that. And thanks also for, for finding me on YouTube and then following all those little, clips that I've got out there. And there will be more and more and more of them. And your question, where to go next? Again, if you need to study in person, and some people do, if you can travel, come to Tampa, because there is no, the very best experience in the world is to study directly, okay? There really isn't something better than that. So if you can afford to do that, if you have the time, come to Tampa, do the classes in person. The second best, again, if you want to study with me, would be to take the Blu-rays. And if you take the Blu-rays, you can either do that completely on your own. It's, you're watching me teach on television, so you're in the class, but, you can't ask direct questions. But that has its own value because you can go back over and over and over and over sections that you want to repeat and see a little bit better, okay? So the Blu-rays work really great. And again, people who want to get the certification and who also need extra help on the way through, Lisa Freeman, my assistant who's right here in the chat room, has a coaching program where she coaches you as you're going through those Blu-rays. So it's like you're being taught by me, okay? And the other thing you can do is do them on CD, MP3, or ebook. So there's a whole, and it gets progressively less hands-on. And that would be best for people who really are good at the self-learning. They're good at independent studies. Now, there will probably also be someone in your area that teaches psychic development. On my website, I have a section on my website that lists the Anastasi system, and you'll be able to go on there and see if there's an Anastasi system teacher in your area. If there's not, then you're just going to have to take what is there, but be grateful that you've got somebody teaching some form of psychic development. And there's no reason you can't take my classes and take a local class at the same time. And you might find there's some differences, and that's okay. People have different approaches, and that's okay. Now, what else can I tell you? Because I think that you're looking for that that guidance from a teacher, from an instructor, and that feels like that's the direction. Okay, I've exhausted. I've really looked at all these things. Things are starting to happen, and I'm now looking for community. I'm looking to share. That's what I'm hearing you say, and I feel like since you're feeling that, it's up to you to do that reaching out, either with me in one of those ways I described, or in your local county or city and finding what is available there and becoming involved. That's the next step. And, I think your question also is, what skills should you reach out for? Should it be strictly within the psychic field? Should it be in the healing field, psychic healing field? Should it be in the yogic field? And, for you, and you're not going to be happy about this, believe it or not, Aquarius is a very fixed sign, and you want to learn in this linear little way that's always on the same track, but your mind doesn't work like that. Your mind actually works where, today you learn a little healing work, and tomorrow you learn a little psychic development, and the day after that you're studying tarot, and then you end up pulling it together into your own gestalt. Do you see? And so what I'm going to say
is, I think you're right.
To try and get in touch with that inner voice. Instead of doing what I say or someone else says, get in touch with that inner voice. And if you're led in a certain direction, then that's the next step you need to take. Because even though you may not consciously realize it, you're following that trail of breadcrumbs to get where you're supposed to go. Okay? And Aquarians aren't linear. The trail leads like that. Okay? And it's okay.
Thank you for saying that, because that's how it's been. It's just been one day like this and one day like that, and I think I should probably get more directed, but now I know that I'm okay.
And believe me, I understand it. When I was learning myself, I have 1,000 books. I have only read through maybe 100 of them, okay? Because I would pick up a book and I'd read a chapter, or I'd read 5 pages. I would just open the book. I would know where to look. So I've got information that spreads 1,000 books, but I've only read cover to cover maybe 100. And you do the same thing because you're information collecting. You're
I do.
following that trail of breadcrumbs through the classes, through the instructors, through the books. And there is a goal, even though the goal might not consciously be available to you yet. Trust that you have one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I know that sounds strange if you're not an Aquarian, but she gets it because she's an Aquarian.
I get it.
Yep.
It makes great sense to me.
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
I really appreciate that.
Thank you. And Lisa, did we ever was she able to type in the question from before? Did you see it come up?
I'm just looking now, actually. That was Susan, right?
Yeah.
No, she was just apologizing for the way things worked out, but she doesn't have a question there, so maybe that'll be a private question later.
Oh, okay. Okay. That'll be fine. Okay. And you know, I'm looking at the time, and that hour goes so very, very fast. I wanted to show you a couple of things. Those of you who have really hung on to the end of the hour, this is my new book. I've just published it. It came out through Balboa Press, a division of Hay House, just before Christmas. It's Astrology, Art, and Science, and it is it's the book that you should read if you want to start really learning about astrology, and if you want to be able to understand each other better and get a good feeling for who people are, just by looking them up in a book that we call an ephemeris, just by knowing someone's sun sign even. If you read this book, you're going to understand so much about them. And I have something else I'm going to tell Lisa to make a note of. This I have, this teeny thing that's got the same cover. This is a coupon for a free ebook. This book in ebook form. So the first 50 people who order from my website a signed copy, now you're going to have to call Lisa for that, a signed copy of this book, I'll sign it for you. The first 50 people after this show who order that signed copy are also going to get a free ebook right along with their signed copy. So if you want, go straight from here to my website and see about ordering it. And I will sign it, your name, etc., etc. It's only a limited number of copies I'm doing that with, and you're going to get a free ebook with it. The other things I want to talk about just real briefly, announcements. I'm just in the process, within the next day or two, there's going to be my new announcement for when my new Kabbalah class is starting. It will be next spring. And those of you who are interested in studying Kabbalah directly online with me, just like we're doing here, make sure you get signed up for that because that class is very limited. I can take a maximum of 25 people in the class. And so if you're, if you don't sign up early, you won't be able to get in that class. And it's a weekly class that goes for 6 months, and it meets right here online. Also, I'm going to be doing my next psychic hour, this class right here for free. I'll be doing that on February 16th from 9 to 10, so please pencil that into your calendar. And I'm doing a show with Sandy Peters, my great friend, called The Holistic Soul. I'll be doing that show at 10 p.m. on February 27th. And, of course, don't forget, if you are in Tampa or if you're thinking, you're sitting on the fence about whether or not to take that psychic development, now's the time to get involved. The next class, 2-day weekend immersion class, is going to be on February 22nd and 23rd, all day Saturday and Sunday at the Tampa West Shore Hotel in Sheraton West Shore Hotel. And I can't wait to see you all there. Folks, this has been so great. I'm so grateful to be able to speak with all of you and to have so many people generate so much interest. I hope this has been helpful. I'd love to hear your comments. If you if you want to write on my Facebook or write on my my website, please let me know how you like this because I really, really enjoy it. And I want to know how I can make it even more enjoyable for you. So let me know what your comments are, your insights, and how you feel about it. And with that, I'm going to sign off for the evening. Thank you all so much. I love you. And come back and see me next month. Bye-bye. Good night.